That was Carl Thomas, Emotional. I'm reminded of a conversation I had. I forgot I was listening to. It was between, I think, teachers and warriors, and they were talking about the cuts to education and that how education had been reduced to, they wanted to remove art. They just wanted to have it quantified or boiled down to just the basics: reading, writing, arithmetic. And the conceit was that because we needed this money for war and we need this money to be prepared in case we had a physical in case we had a fight or we were going to attack a country or a country was going to attack us, and they were going back and forth. And finally, the art teacher said to the warrior, well, if we take art out of school, what on earth would we be fighting for anyway? If all we were going to do is learn and work and be automatons and not have anything that lifted our spirit or raised our hopes or inspired us, what would be the point of war? You have to fight for, if you're fighting, you have to have something you love, something that inspires you, something that helps you get through. It can't just be your comrades. It can't just be the battle. There has to be something. It reminded me of another conversation that I was just heard recently. It was 3 black women, and they were talking about the way that they needed to raise black children, particularly black boys, and they had to be harder on them because the society would be hard on them. Now, truthfully, I for a long time had agreed with that adage. I think I said on many occasions that I'm here because of the ass whoopers I doled out. I was doled out to that. My mother, she was extra hard, and she believed in the whole spare the rod, spoil the child, and she was particularly hard on me and my brother because she didn't want a specific result. But I know people whose mother was just as hard as them, and they still went to jail, and they still did bad. But the idea, the notion that is the way that black boys must be raised, that you have to be hard on them, that you have to do these things to prepare them for a world that won't love them, that'll be brutal to them, that won't understand them. I understand that notion. I understand the sentiment. And in some ways, I kind of have to agree. But if all you're doing is preparing a young black boy for a world that will not accept him, will not love him, where does he have peace? Where does he lay his head? How does he know the difference between what is war and what is love? How does he know the difference between what he's fighting for and what is fighting him? How does he know? If all you're going to teach him and show him, and there's no place for him to lay his head, there's no place he can have peace, then he won't give it to anybody else. How could he? This notion that we are little more than animals and have to be trained a certain way or we won't respond is a notion that this country has instilled upon us too. So I do understand what it's like to raise a black, but it's interesting because I raised a son. I didn't get with him, raised a son and 2 daughters. Now I didn't beat them like I was beaten, but my son, I can say that I was harder on him, and my daughters I was a little lighter with, right? But it was only my daughters. My son has never been a foul of the law. Both my daughters owe me thousands of dollars because them niggas they still got in trouble. So one was loved and one was pushed harder. Now, I understand the notion that you have to treat boys a certain way or give them a realistic idea of how the world is going to treat them or what is prepared for them. But the only way somebody can grow is if they know what they're growing for, if they know what they're growing to. They can't be just all stick and no carrot. They can't just be all pain and no love. If you're preparing a child, a black boy for a world that will never love him, you should show him what the difference is. There should be a place that he has peace. Showing a child what the world is like only so he can be prepared for it is like wearing tight shoes so you feel good when you take them off. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.